Hello, I'm Joel Hargis with the Florida Aviation Network here at Sun and Fun 2021. And we are having a fantastic Sun and Fun show this year. Everybody missed it last year, and so we've got a really good attendance this year. The Blue Angels are in town. They're in their brand new Super Hornets. That's pretty exciting. They've been screaming around the field for the last day or so. And it's just been a great show. I'm really excited to introduce David St. George, and he is with SAFE, which is the Society of Aviation and Flight Educators. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you for having me, and it is a great show this time around.
Yeah, everybody's excited to just be back here rubbing elbows with pilots and looking at airplanes. David, tell us what SAFE is all about.
Yeah, it's a good question. We're just 10 years old. SAFE is a professional organization, 501c3. And so we are building the professionalism of the flight educators. And that's not just flight instructors, but it's, AMTs, people in maintenance and avionics and everything else.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the programs that we just took on is the Master Instructors. And just to go back a little history, that was what originally got me my DPE. I already had a CFI, double I got a gold seal. And what's next? The FAA unfortunately has no real program for recurrency for the CFIs and for continuing education. So way back 25 years ago, Joanne and Sandy Hill developed this Master Instructor program, and what it does is you keep developing continuing education credits, like any other profession.
Right.
So, that's a lot of what SAFE does, and we have programs online, we have webinars. We've had Patty Wagstaff and Rod Machado and Rich Stoll, and we do a lot with accident prevention, loss of control.
That's great.
One of the key things, Joel, is that we can take all of these members, and we have about 3,500 members now, and there's people with amazing experience. It's what you see here at Sun and Fun.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that guy flew what, a B-25, a B-52, a what, These are members, and we share that knowledge and wisdom and provide it to our members.
And you do that largely through a website, or do you have a publication?
Well, that's, it's like everyone else. We try everything to reach all kinds of people. I have a weekly blog, which is safeblog.org, and that gets about, depending on the weeks, it's a very well extended.
So say that again.
Safeblog.org. And I got to start writing for this Saturday pretty soon. But then we have the safepilots.org, which is the website for the organization. And the one other thing, is I have an app which I wrote for it's on Apple and Android, and it's called the Safe Toolkit. And so, we try to hit every way to reach pilots and CFIs to make them safer.
Well, you actually shared that app with me when we were back in the green room, and I went ahead and just downloaded that and put it on my phone.
Yeah, it's very
because my daughter's going through she's flight training, her primary right now, to get her private. And you shared with me the list of things to come prepared with when you sit for your check ride with your DPE. And so elaborate on that a little bit. What are the things that most pilots preparing for that come and miss?
Excellent question, and we'll be here all night now. So, no, but as when I became a DPE, and nobody knows what that job is until you do it.
So let's stop a minute. Tell everybody what a DPE is.
We use too many three-letter acronyms.
It's an FAA
Designated
thing.
Pilot Examiner, but basically you're a contractor with the FAA, and you are empowered to approve people to get pilot certificates and ratings at various levels. And it's a very important job, obviously, but it's something you largely learn on the job. But I had been a CFI, and I had worked with a pilot examiner, and I knew what some of the problems were. Okay. But then I'm in the role as pilot examiner, and here comes an applicant for a flight test. And unfortunately, maybe their endorsements aren't correct, or they don't have enough hours, or something in the logbook, or the instructor didn't endorse. And you probably know how hard it is to get a flight test. You have to arrange the time, the plane, the weather, and especially I'm in upstate New York. And then, we're not going to have a successful flight evaluation. We can't even start, or there's missing pieces. And so it became very apparent to me that the real problem was the flight instructor. And that's the good thing and the bad thing in our aviation system. They are really the pivot point where safety happens, because if the flight instructor is excellent and good, they reach and improve 20, 30, 50 people a week. You know, they're very prolific. If they're bad, though, the contamination is endless. So and as someone coming into the job, how do they know a good one from a bad one? And there again, the master instructor, you know, that's one way you can tell someone's a professional. But you know, the common things when people come in for a check ride that are unsuccessful, you know, the landings are obviously probably the hardest thing for people. But if you're an applicant coming in and I'm a DPE, I'd say the real barrier is the nervousness.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
everyone shakes, you know.
I can tell you, when I took my check rides, I don't know that I've been more nervous in my life than that. You know, it was just like, oh, I want to pass this so bad.
Well, and that's it. It's, you got all the time, you got the money, you got the psychological, you know, push. Maybe you told some of your friends that you're going for the check ride, so there's an extra burden. No, when an applicant walks into me, you know, my job as a DPE, as a pilot examiner, is to first relax them, calm them down. And I think I was telling you in the green room, I always say to them, you know, all your paperwork's done, you have all the experience, you are already a private pilot. You're 100%. Everything is a markdown from there. You know, so you already succeeded, you're logging this as pilot and command time. Just do it like you did it with your flight instructor, and all we're doing is checking that. That's why it's called a check ride.
Well, that's, you know, that would help set me at ease.
And that's, you know, because I am a charter pilot. I go every 6 months and I sit in the hot seat and take a test. I don't like it any more than other people.
Right, yeah.
Nobody likes to be in the hot light.
It's scary, you know, and I mean, I've never failed a test in my life.
Yeah.
And so, but this was the biggest test I ever took, particularly that instrument ride and test. Oh my gosh.
Yes, and pilots are all very hard on themselves. They're alpha people. You know, they're achievers, and, you know, failing is just not on the list.
Yeah.
You know, it's even worse if they have some military experience.
Crushing, right?
So, yeah.
And so let's talk about that master instructor, because I think the quality of student probably goes up, way up, from a master instructor to just a CFI.
And I'd be the first one to tell you that a good instructor doesn't have to be a master instructor, but that is one sign of quality. That's another layer. But, you know, frequently it's a person that's been in the industry for a lot of years. You can't even qualify unless you've been an instructor 4 years.
4 years.
4 years. And we know right now, and this is going to shock you, but FAA data reveals that the average instructor, 2/3 of the instructors, are active for only about less than a year. In other words, there's 12,000 instructors that are active in the system right now. 2/3 of them only teach for a year and they're on to the airlines or some other job. They built their hours. There's only 4,000 that persist and continue to teach year after year after year. That's a very small cadre of professionals.
Boy, that's right.
Yeah.
It's funny, even my primary, and at the airport and flight school that I learned from, I wouldn't say he was building time, but he did get his ATP, and then he went and flew.
Well, you know, I want to make sure we understand that, and SAFE is not opposed to building time, but as you are building those hours, you should be a professional.
Right.
Yeah, and we're working with programs right now with the airlines, so they already are, you know, have a number at the airlines. If somebody wants to go to the airlines, fine, they want to be a professional, but start being a professional when you start teaching.
Right.
Don't use those hours just for that. Learn your trade well. So
it's funny because he went and started flying for a charter service, didn't like the travel away from home, came back and has been back for now 6 or 7 years as a professional instructor, and he is a master instructor.
Perfect.
So first one was got to be 4 years.
Yep. Oh, and you know what? You wanted some of the qualifications.
Yeah,
very good.
For any instructors
again,
out there
let me
listening.
just mention that URL for that is masterinstructors.org. And so 4 years in duty, you know, you need that behind you. You can get a master educator with 3 years, but a master instructor, 4 years. There's actually, and I don't want to scare anyone, but 500 hours of continuing education units you have to log to be a master instructor in 5 different categories.
And 500 hours, that's a lot.
Well, it just
Is
means...
that online?
No. What you do is you are going to go to a website, and it's on submittable.com, and you drag in, various, like if you flew with, or you did a seminar for Bob, and he, is a FAST team representative. You count that time as, towards your master instructor.
Okay.
If you work with Aero Explorers, that counts towards your master instructors. In other words, most CFIs, when they actually look at it, have enough experience.
Oh, okay.
They're doing all these things. One of the hard ones, though, that's in that is that they need to volunteer a certain amount of time. You have to be a good aviation citizen. You're not just a CFI looking out for yourself. You're an educator, you're a participant, you're a creator of media. So what this does in the industry is these CFIs become very active in the FAST team. They're giving seminars, they're participating with youth, and so it builds the whole community. And
I'm a huge proponent of the FAST, seminars and things. I once I got my life, I kept going and going and going, and I still go all the time. And so another thing you had on my cheat sheet here was CFI Pro seminars.
Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah, CFI Pro was something we came up with. When we look at flight instructors, we have a lot that are experienced, but we all know, and this is that data again, that 8,000 of these are going to be CFIs for less than a year. 2/3 of the instructors teaching have taught less than a year. They're beginners, basically. They have the wet temporary certificate that says you can teach. So SAFE has always mentored these people. We've always had, senior people bonded up with the new CFIs. CFI Pro travels to flight schools. Like we were down at Wayman in Miami, and we have the 35, 40 flight instructors with their little stripes and white shirts. And, what we do is we share the real experience from the experienced instructors. So we go in like a SWAT team, and we work with those. And as I was telling Bob Jex earlier, this is built off of the Larry Enlow program, the enhanced CFI program you have here in Orlando. They took all the CFIs in the district, brought them in, they mandatory training for a day, and they reduced accidents by 60%.
60%?
60, yes.
That's
60%. So, we
that's
said,
incredible.
This is proven. So we take that now and we go to flight schools and we offer the training that we can. We can't make them come in, but we can go to them. And the unbelievable part, Joel, was I thought we'd get pushback and blowback from the youngsters, We know what we're doing. But we got just the opposite. They were so grateful. It's a very well-received program. Yeah. So thank you for asking. That has been very successful.
Well, and so Central Florida is a great place for that, right? I think more people learn to fly in Central Florida than anywhere in the world.
Yes,
and Phoenix being number 2.
Right, I think it's 1/3 of all U.S. certificates are in the Orlando.
Central Florida. Yeah. And of course we have many flight schools, and weather and terrain is why. And so this is a target-rich environment for you guys.
Exactly, yes. We do travel down here. I was telling you I'm a DPE in upstate New York. It's like in the winter that's not a busy trade.
That's exactly what I asked. How do you do that in the winter?
Not much. That's right.
But it's probably a great instrument environment.
Yeah, we call it the weather warehouse up there. How do I have 4,000 hours in the clouds teaching?
Yeah, the weather warehouse.
The weather warehouse.
I love that. So that's cool. So you guys really actively trying to help CFIs get better.
Absolutely. There's all kinds of programs. And the best thing, Joel, once again, I go back to our members, There's a guy there, Michael Hare, I just met. He's a new board director, and guy was in the Air Force. He was a colonel, led a squadron. He was a airline pilot for years. Now he's got his aerobatic plane over at the thing, and his stated goal is to enter the national championships on sportsman level and just not be last. But he brings all that experience to the organization, all
that's great.
Airline, military, and he helps, he goes to a flight school every day and helps the youngsters. So
and that's a volunteer.
Yes. Well, no, I mean he gets paid too, but CFI at the basic level is almost volunteer.
Yeah. It is. So you mentioned earlier that you not only do pilot stuff, but you do A&P. Is that Did I hear that right, or did I hear that wrong?
We haven't, we've been guilty of not developing that enough. We have several programs, but, today I just signed an affiliation with an avionics group, actually.
Oh, okay.
The key is that an educator is an educator, and there's certain tools and techniques you use, whether it's flight or whether you're a ground instructor or whether you're avionics. So we share with all of those people, and there's many members across the board, predominantly flight instructors.
So I've seen more and more A&P schools popping up around. I mean, we have radio ads for that here in Florida. It's not uncommon to hear one at any point in time. Because there's a need.
There's a great trade to
right?
get into.
And I'm into teaching youth aviation, and so we're trying to let the kids know that you can get into aviation and not have to be a pilot. I mean, if that's not your bag, you don't want to get up there in the sky and fly, you can work on airplanes, or you can work on avionics, or you can be in airplane sales. You can do all kinds of things and not be a pilot, and it pays pretty darn well. So I think as you continue in that direction would only benefit them.
Sure.
One of the last things I want to talk to you about is the app that you developed. Talk to us about Safe Toolkit.
Yeah, and I can't make it play in here because there's not much connectivity, but this is another spin out from being a DPE, and having the frustration of an applicant be unsuccessful. And you go, it's not their fault. It, maybe it was the person that prepared and sent that. So what I developed was this app, and it's on the iOS, it's on the Android, and it's called the Safe Toolkit. And basically, step by step, it covers the experience a pilot needs, the endorsements that they need to have. It goes through the codes on the knowledge test.
A checklist, if you will.
I should have called it the Safe Checklist. But anyway, it was designed primarily for CFIs, and now I'm modifying it a little so that it has content for applicants. So there's a new section called Check Ride Ready, so a private pilot can go in there and say, oh, I've got all those things. It's largely built off the ACS checklist. These are the things I need. But it also covers some other things, like when you go to an examiner and you are in IACRA and we perform that certification function, it's important for the applicant to log in too so they can sign it. Many people go to a check ride and they forget to bring their login password, and it's like, oh my gosh, here we go. Again, we're just wasting time, and the student or the applicant is getting more nervous
just
as
a little
this happens.
detail,
yes.
Right?
Make sure the logbook's clean, and all those little details are in the Safe Toolkit app.
It's funny, I remember, you talk about IACRA, I remember, I think it was for my instrument ride a decade ago, but it's like you learn all this stuff, you got all this stuff in your head, and now you got to go to this website, and it's like, oh gosh, really?
You really have to.
But it's the part of the game, right?
Yes, it is.
And so, so the Safe Toolkit app, and that's a free app.
Thank you for saying that. Yes, absolutely free, and it's been very well received. And I'm going to push out today a message to all CFOs. I think about 8,000 people on there to take messages. So I just click go, and it sends to 8,000. It's a real way. It's a conduit for safety and connectivity.
And so I saw the checklist for private. Do you have it on there for instrument or commercial?
I do. I have private, instrument. I'm working on commercial. Thanks for asking.
All right. So you're building.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh God, it's changing every day.
So you'll get it clear up to CFI, double I.
I hope so. Yeah.
What a project.
Yeah, it's a continual project, and a very important part on there is there's a feedback to me. So if somebody discovers an error, we can immediately correct it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because obviously everything wants to be very accurate. The one thing about the app and the way I wrote it is it doesn't store local data, so it will not store on your phone anything because it could get old. Everything is loaded continuously from the internet.
Right, yeah, because you're right. Nothing.
You don't want stale data or old regs or old endorsements.
The FAA, bless their heart, is never ending, never changing, always updating. And, I'm laughing looking directly into the camera because we have a person with the FAA associated on camera one. I'm not going to name any names.
A moving target, that FAA. No, but we have a wonderful working relationship with the FAA, I would say that. And they blessed that master instructor program and gave us renewal ability for it. So
So, you know, I just want to ground everybody a little bit. So here, we're sitting with a DPE. This is the guy that it's going to help you get your ratings, regardless of which one it is. How many years you been flying?
I'm just on 50 years.
So coming up on 50 full years of flying.
Yeah, I was 3 when I got my private pilot.
Yeah, you look like it. And so you're going to be eligible for the Wright Brothers Master Pilot Award coming up,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Let me ask you, how old were you when you soloed?
I was 16.
16 when he soloed and got your license at...
Actually, it took a while longer.
Really?
But yeah.
Not 17?
No. I had a little military intervention, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, I got it later, and you know, a couple medicals later. I was the hard student, but you know, and I also had check-ride-itis, so.
So, you know,
But it goes from solo.
I
to
love that.
master,
What'd you solo in?
The Cherokee, the Hershey Bar wing.
Oh, a Cherokee 140.
Yeah, can't go better than that.
Oh, that's a trainer, you know. And I bring that out, David, because guess what? Though you're an examiner now, you started like most of the rest of us.
You know, it's such a wonderful journey. There's so many different paths you can take. So yeah.
It's just, I try to make it real that way. Like,
God, yes,
this
every
guy
day.
wasn't like, you know, zapped by lightning, and all of a sudden he's a
That makes a good
examiner.
instructor too. If you can remember those steps and what it was like for you, then you're going to be a more effective teacher and evaluator. I've sat in that chair that you're sitting. I've suffered too.
Right. Well, thanks for coming in and sharing that with us.
Thank you,
Some
Joel.
great information for CFIs and students. Joel Hargis, Aviation Network, Sun and Fun 2021.